Happy VA Wednesday. So today we're going to talk about what a bait and switch is and why you need to be more aware than ever. I had kind of hoped that by the end of 2023, most of the trash line lenders would be out of the industry. However, what I'm seeing is just new levels of desperation every single day. And as a buyer, you have to be on your guard even more than usual. And as a veteran, you have to be on guard times 12. And here's why. The sick and sad reality is that veterans get preyed on the most in the mortgage industry. Yeah, it's messed up. Look, for anyone who already owns a VA house, just open up your mailbox, right? Look at some of that mail you get. It is deceptive as hell. It is meant to try to trick people. It is not good. So today we're going to be talking about bait and switch, questions to ask your lender about rates and fees, because I'm seeing a consistent theme and it needs to stop. And the way that we stop it is I teach you guys how to work the system. That's a nutshell. For anyone new to the channel, licensed in 48 states, one of the top VA teams, we answer questions all the time. My cell phone number is 707-478-0637. It's my real cell phone number. People are constantly shocked, especially when I answer. But like, seriously, like I am here to help you guys. And sometimes people are like, you're crazy. Do you get like weird? I don't. That's the really cool part. I've been giving out my phone number like for 7 years, and I just get the nicest people calling me with questions. It's really cool. So please reach out. I'm happy to help. Okay, bait and switch. Ugh, what is going on? So I'll be talking to a buyer and they'll be like, oh yeah, I just got quoted this by XYZ lender. Myself and everyone on my team always say the same thing. Yeah, can you send that over to us in writing? We just want to take a peek. Because here's the thing. The way that lenders, let's play role play. Are you ready? Okay. So you call me and you're like, hey Jen, where are you at with rates today? And I'm like, okay, like let me look at your file. Okay, great. So right now, and I'm making up rates, guys, this is not like pertain to you specifically. I'm at 6.5, I have no lender fee, and that's with no points. Do you want me to look at buying down the rate? Like I'm looking at the rate sheet, I don't really think it makes sense. I would do the 6.5 with no points, no lender fee. Okay, great. Very clear. The average conversation, let's say you call Bob. Hey Bob, yeah, like we're in contract. What are rates today? Oh, hey, I can totally lock you at 6.375. You want me to lock that? And you're like, yeah, God, Bob's awesome. Bob is great. We all know Bob's not gonna be if you watch my videos. Okay, so here's the thing. What is the difference in that conversation? Well, when you called me, I also told you beyond the rate what my lender fees were and if there was any buy down to the rate. Bob just told you the rate. And the assumption that people make is that if a lender just says a rate, there's no fees associated with it. That is what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is a buyer coming to me saying, hey, I was just quoted XYZ. And I'm like, that sounds really low. Does that have any fees or points? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, did you already lock it? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, great. Can you send me the locked loan estimate? Okay, that's the thing. If you think you locked the rate, the lender has to provide a locked loan estimate within 3 days. That's right. So very important you guys know that, because sometimes lenders pretend they lock loans and they don't, because they know that you guys don't know that they have to give you proof within 3 days. Business days, important. Okay, so we get these locked loan estimates and I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know how Bob said you were going to give you 6.375? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, did he say he's going to charge you anything? No, he didn't say he was going to charge me anything. Okay. I'm looking at this right now and there's $15,000 in lender fees between origination and discount points. Yeah, between origination and discount points. And you're like, wow, Bob's a liar. He's not. You never asked. He didn't. Look, it's not a lender's job to be as transparent as possible. Like that's how I run my business, but that's not necessarily how other lenders run their business. Their business is maybe like a, if you didn't ask, they didn't have to tell situation. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of right now, okay? Because look, Bob didn't ever tell you in that conversation it was no points or no fees. but it was. Yeah. Okay, so what do you need to do? First of all, right now, if you're watching this video and you're like, oh my God, I might have Bob as my lender, get your locked loan estimate out, okay? And it's called a loan estimate. And the way you can see it is locked is I do a lot of pantomiming, I've realized. This is actually my arm workout, I was gaining a lot of shape. You'll see that there's a little box that says floating or locked. If it says locked, that means you're locked. If it says floating, you're not locked, okay? So you're gonna look at that. Then you're gonna look at box A. Box A is lender fees. So it's if there's any discount points, origination points, processing, underwriting, all that's gonna be in box A. But also make sure you check out box J, because box J would show you if the lender's ever giving you a credit. Very important. So look at those numbers right now. Is that what you were expecting? Okay, and if you're like, it is, but I still don't know if it's a good deal, will you look at it, Jen? Totally, guys. You can take a picture and text it to me, or you can email it to me at beeston@rate.com. I'm always happy to look at it. If they're giving you a great deal, I will say, this is an awesome deal, congratulations. If they are taking advantage of you, I will say, I'm gonna save you $5,000 or whatever the amount is, let's go. Okay, so you've looked at your loan estimate. Now let's say you don't have a locked loan estimate. So how do you handle a lender? Well, here's what I would do. If I was buying a house, I'm trying to pause for making a joke, which is just call me, but okay, past that. If I was buying a house, I would be asking the lender up front, like, hey, like, where is the ballpark for rates right now? What are you seeing in the market? And I want to hear a pretty intelligent answer. I would also be asking, what are your lender fees? And I would want them to tell me. And, in our situation, we waive VA, which makes it really easy for us. But if you were a conventional buyer, I would be telling you, our fees are actually going up for conventional next year. So I would be saying, hey, it's $1,660. That's our fee. But some lenders do it as a percent. So they may say, hey, my fee is 1% of the loan amount. And we see a lot of that in VA. We'll have people tell clients, oh, well, VA charges 1%. VA does not charge 1%. It allows lenders to. Very important distinction. And a lot of the big boys are charging 1 point origination and 1 discount point right now. So you definitely want to ask what the lender fees are. And you can even say, like, if they're like, oh, we don't really have any, just be like, okay, so just to clarify, there's no lender origination charges, there's no underwriting processing, nothing like that. Okay, and if they go, oh, we have a 1% origination, then say, okay, is there underwriting and processing too? Because sometimes they'll have all of it. And some of the stuff I see in VA land, usually this is with builders, lenders, it's crazy. It's like underwriting, processing, because we made up the fee, 1% origination, 2 points, and it's like, oh my God, it's $1 zillion. So that's really important you're asking that. Now, when you're looking at locking or you're talking about rates, you always want to ask, does the rate you're quoting me include any discount points? Okay? If you do not ask that question and a lender's giving you a rate and they're not saying anything about it, it could be anything. That's the thing. That's what you guys need to know. They could be saying, oh, it's 6.5. And you could be like, oh, great. Okay, so that must be no points because they didn't talk about points. It could be 6.5 with 3 points. Okay, so let's talk about what a point is. A point is a charge to lower the rate. 1 point equals 1% of the loan amount. It's not the same per lender. You can have, and this is once again, new construction. We always laugh about this. You'll see a new construction rate. Let's say I'm at 6.5 with no points and the new construction's at 6.5, but we're looking at box A and we're like, they're charging you 2 points for that. Yeah, so if it's a $400,000 loan, whereas I could do it with no points, they're charging you $8,000 for the same rate. And you're like, what? How is this happening? It's VA. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. All the time. The variances between what lenders charge is wild. And it changes. Like, there's a couple lenders, when they really get aggressive with getting VA loans, I can't touch them. Like, they're amazing when they do it. But then they jack up their rates to make up for that, so it's constantly changing as well. So you really need to be on the lookout for this. So make sure you're asking about the lender fees, discount points, and are you ready for the last one? How many days is the lock good for? Now, this is when you're in contract, guys, because most lenders aren't locking you right now doing lock-in shops. I wasn't doing them earlier in the year because it didn't make sense, because it was so expensive to do it for the client. And now it doesn't make sense because it looks like we're in a declining market, meaning that we're expecting rates to go down. So it doesn't make sense to lock in a rate now for a long period. So odds are you'll be locking your rate when you're in contract. Okay. Here's a fun story. So I had a client and it was a 30-day close, meaning that they were in contract, they were supposed to close in 30 days. So when I looked at rates, I did it based off a 30-day rate lock. As a lender, I've got 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, 60, 70, 90, etc. Okay? And he was comparing me to another lender. And he's like, Jen, you got beat. And I knew who the other lender was. And I was like, no way, no way. Will you send me what they sent you? And he sends it over. And I look at it and I'm like, that's a 15-day rate lock. He's like, what? And it did say it. That's the thing. The lender sent this over. So if the client complained later, the lender had proof that he had shown the client it was a 15-day rate lock. Well, a 15-day rate lock, of course, is going to be lower than a 30-day. But if the transaction's going to take 30 days, you need a 30-day lock. Okay, so the other lender was going to play this one of two ways. They were either going to lock that 15-day lock and then charge the borrower for extensions for 15 days, which would be very expensive, or more likely, this is the type of nonsense I see, they weren't even going to talk about it, and then they were going to wait until about 2 weeks before closing, see if they could get that rate, and if the market had gone up, let the client know that the client hadn't directed them on locking and that they had shown them a 15-day rate and that rates are higher and they need to lock now. We see a lot of that. We see a lot of where clients think they're locked, but the lender hasn't locked them, and then they're bullying them close to closing with rates and fees that are much higher. If this has happened to you, drop it in the comments. I know this is pretty long in the video, so there's like you and me, there's like 4 of us. I appreciate you guys. I hope this helps. So yeah, you definitely want to watch out for that, because there's a lot of game playing, and I'll hear it from people. I'll hear, you know, I didn't know I was supposed to tell them to lock. And it's like, as a lender, you know, every lender does their business differently. Some lenders will quote a really low rate and then hope that you won't ask them to lock it, so that down the line they can charge you what they really would have charged you, and they just blame you for not directing them. You got to watch out for that, for real. In our case, I'm always going to tell you, you know, whether it's me or Jen or Sam, as soon as we get the contract, we're trying to quote you rates, always, okay? And we'll do it by the phone, and then we usually follow up in email as well. You know, if I'm on the phone with you, like obviously you and I are making a decision. You know, if Sam's on the phone with someone and they're not sure, she's going to send an email that says, hey, as discussed, these are the rates we covered, and if you want to lock, I need to know now. And the reason's this: rates change every day. So if I'm talking to you on Monday about a rate and you're like, I don't know, and then rates go up on Tuesday, guess what? You have a higher rate. So you want to make sure you're proactively talking to your lender about this, because trusting that your lender is going to lead the conversation does not work. It doesn't work. Like, I just can't stress that enough. The amount of BS I see in the industry is outrageous. And also, it's just not the way some lenders do their business. You know, there's a lot of lenders that are really happy to gamble with your money. And they're like, oh, well, 15-day locks are a little cheaper, so we'll just wait. There's no guarantee that rates are going to be the same or lower in 15 days. That is a gambling. And my belief, and this is how my parents raised me, is that if I'm gambling with my own money, that's my mistake. But if I'm gambling with someone else's money and they don't know it, I'm a criminal. Okay? My parents were hardcore. I had a school teacher and a former Navy lawyer, you know. Well, he was a lawyer after the Navy. Anyways, no joke. They were serious. So that's the thing. A lot of people don't live by that code. A lot of people think that, you know, they may know more than you or anything else. And I can tell you right now, as someone who watches the markets like a hawk, and I talk to everyone in the industry, especially people higher up than me that know more, like, of course I'm going to talk to them. Everyone will tell you the market is so crazy that anyone trying to predict it or say they know the direction is a fool. So look, I hope this video has been helpful. Once again, if you guys want me to look at what you're getting, please reach out. Oh no, okay, I need to cover one more thing, I'm so sorry. Okay, one more thing to watch out for. So the other thing is I've seen lenders sending like worksheets or loan summaries and they're like, yeah, this is what it's gonna look like when I lock you. And it's like 6.5 and no points. And then I go, this isn't binding, this isn't locked. What does it look like when they lock it? And then when it's locked, it's like $20,000. So really watch out, guys. Pay attention to the locked loan estimates. And if you need help or you have questions about this video, please, please, please reach out. Thanks for watching.